Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm back with some more Wednesday words of wisdom. Oh, my phone, I think, is sliding. Okay. We're going to continue reading great words from wise women. Today, we are reading about an excerpt from Angelina Grimké. I've decided to say Grimké. I don't know if that's correct, but here we go. The devout Angelina Grimké, daughter of prosperous South Carolina slaveholders, scandalized her family when she began an anti-slavery lecture tour in the 1830s. Even her close abolitionist friends, including her future husband, Theodore Weld, urged her to stop speaking publicly, fearing the spectacle of a woman addressing an audience would hurt the cause. The leading abolitionists were men, and Grimké's speeches, along with her sister Sarah's talks and writings, ventured into threatening territory by positioning women as the moral equals of men. In response to the situation, an uncomfortable New England Church Association issued the pastoral letter to be read at services, reminding listeners that the power of a woman is her dependence. I hate that, but okay. Still, Grimké took the stage. She often named her faith as a source of strength in the face of others' disdain. In 1838, she addressed a mixed-race audience at Pennsylvania Hall in downtown Philadelphia, where female abolitionist groups were holding a national convention. Outside, a violent mob battered at the doors and windows as she spoke. In her speech, she urges her audience, especially women, to use their right to petition. They did not yet have the right to vote, and to stand firm against angry voices, such as the mobs. The bracketed comments in the extract opposite, which I'm going to read, describing the violence. Why did I say it like that? Describing the violence were published alongside the speech. Later, the crowd burned the empty building to the ground. Wow, that's crazy. And honestly, kind of coincidental. So as I'm filming this, and this will go up, I guess, a week later, but as I'm filming this, there is a lot going on with protests happening in Los Angeles. I believe the National Guard and even the Marines have been deployed, as well as like police forces and special forces and ICE, obviously, and I think even DHS, the Department of Homeland Security. Like, there are 7 different government agencies that are like being deployed right now, directly enacting violence against people for using their First Amendment right to protest. And it's really sad, and it's scary, and it's terrifying, the sort of precedent that is being set right now. And I mean, this was already, like, I remember in 2020 for the Black Lives Matter protests, there was already like tear gas, rubber bullets, like heavy pushback from police and like Capitol protecting forces. It seems to have increased. The like lengths that the state is willing to go to. And it's kind of indicative of the true power the people possess. Like, because we are given certain rights in the Constitution, like the right to assembly, the right to protest, the right of freedom of speech, and like the violence and like the, can't find the word, but like the way in which the state is trying to suppress people is really just indicative of how powerful people can be. Like, people protesting this is protecting people, is, you know, community care. It's standing up for what is right. And it will create change, you know. Even if it's not right now, I believe, you know, in the future, and even like looking back at this time in history, you know, it's really important that people are doing what they are doing. And like, I haven't read the passage yet, but I know what she's going to say. And like, given that like the protesters burned down the building after this speech, like, words are powerful. Words, and I'm gonna bring up Miley Cyrus. One thing about me is I'm gonna bring up Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus just released her album Something Beautiful, and she talks about how words carry power. And like, she uses the term frequency, and I don't really like to use that necessarily, because I think there is some niches that like sort of have different interpretations of the world than I do, which is okay. But she says that words have power, and when we define something with a word, we are emanating a certain idea or connotation, and words do hold power. And that's why she said she was very intentional with every single thing that went into this album and visual experience, which I have yet to experience, but I'm really excited for. But, you know, words do have the power to change the world. And I think that's why I wanted to do this Wednesday Words of Wisdom series, because wise words help us change the world. Let me continue, and let me get into what words she gave us here. Okay, it's an anti-slavery speech from 1838. As a Southerner, I feel that it is my duty to stand up here tonight and bear testimony against slavery. I have seen it. I know it has horrors that can never be described. Just then, stones were thrown at the windows, a great noise without, and commotion within. And then she goes on to say, "What is a mob? What would the breaking of every window be? What would the leveling of this hall be? Any evidence that we are wrong, or that slavery is a good and wholesome institution? We often hear the question asked, what shall we do? Here is an opportunity for doing something now. Every man and every woman present may do something by showing that we fear not a mob, and in the midst of threatenings and revelings, by opening our mouths for the dumb and pleading the cause of those who are ready to perish." So I believe dumb was like used as a synonym for mute. And I even think in this sense, like, she's just using it for people that maybe don't have the ability to speak, and also don't have the platform to speak. Because, like it said earlier, women did not have the right to vote, they had the right to petition. And I don't believe, there's no way that at this point in 1838 that Black people had the right to vote. So she says, you know, by opening our mouths is how we can do something. We can change something by saying what needs to be said. "Women of Philadelphia, especially let me urge you to petition. Men may settle this and other questions at the ballot box, but you have no such right. It is only through petitions that you can reach the legislature. When the women of these states send up to Congress such a petition, our legislators will arise, as did those of England, and say, when all the maids and matrons of the lands are knocking at our doors, we must legislate. Let the zeal and love, the faith and works of our English sisters quicken ours, that while the slaves continue to suffer, and when they shout deliverance, we may feel the satisfaction of having done what we could. Wow. We will feel the satisfaction of having done what we could. These are incredibly important words, especially now. Maybe not even especially, but definitely now. Because I feel like there's always going to be a fight. And I am going to talk about this in further detail when I make an astrology ramble video soon. Because I want to talk about like the 7 planets and principles of life that I associate with each of the planets. And one of the planets is Mars. And sometimes life is hard. And there are things in life that require a fight, require a struggle. And it is in times like these that we need to fight. We need to stand up. And use our words, use our presence to, say what is right and what is not okay. And so I'm really, really proud of, I'm proud and I'm also saddened by what is going on in LA, but I'm proud of the people that are standing up and fighting against forces that are much more violent, much, I don't want to say more powerful, because I don't believe that the state has more power than the people, especially when it comes like the power of numbers. Like, that's simply not the case, but there is more power to oppress. They have an upper hand in the sense that they have guns. They have also protection from the state. Like if they were to, like I saw there was a video of a reporter from Australia who was shot, like at point blank, like fully, like they pointed a gun at her and shot her with a rubber bullet. A journalist, which I think that's a war crime. But will they be prosecuted? Probably not. Like the police, because of what they do for the state, they get protected by the state. So like the system will never really turn against them, and that's why we have to overpower the system. Thank you so much. I think I'm gonna end it there, because I feel like it's quite long already. But stay tuned. Next week there will be some more Wednesday words of wisdom. Bye.